All right, Shalom. All praise, honor, glory, and fear. Always, first and foremost, to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem HaRakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who lead our nation, and they rule well. And peace and salutations to all the hopeful elect brothers out there and a few sisters that's learning and starting to tune in. I say Shalom. So today is April 20th of 2021. And it's dubbed as 420, which is it's like a code for, or is known for getting high. And like 420 time mean smoke, right? And it's crazy because they gave a verdict today. It says, this is from Russia Today, or RT News, and it says Minneapolis jury finds ex-cop Derek Chauvin guilty on all charges in death of George Floyd. And you see the date there is April 20th. So it's just giving, like, Esau does nothing by accident. Everything is by design. He's like, Esau is very extremely calculated. They could have gave this verdict any other day, but they made sure that this verdict went out on 420, because Esau, that's how he rolls. Just giving you Jakes another reason to go get high, because you want to celebrate, this conviction or the guilty charge. Because to be honest with you, I don't really believe this man is going to serve a day in an actual prison. Now, he may not have his life the way he had it before. I believe that I don't trust nothing. The scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. He can tell the public, that, this guy was found guilty. He's going to be in prison, and all that's going to do is make people who tuned in, suffice them. It's going to satisfy you, but you're not going to check and see, okay, what maximum prison facility was he transferred to? Is he in a level 5 prison facility? Who's going to really pay attention to that? Like the whole situation with when it's out of sight, out of mind. You're going to think, he's in prison. This dude could be in a whole nother country. They change up his identity a little bit, and he living a regular life in another. Because he did the bidding of what Esau want, which is to take you Jakes out. They sent off, and you can look this up on YouTube, law enforcement agencies across the United States send their top level police officers and detectives out to get trained by the Israeli military to teach them how to shoot and kill, and without having a heart for it. They train them this way. So when they get back in the streets, you can see the way they react when they do be killing Jake. They do it systematically. They do it precisely with the proper training, and they do it with no care for it. They don't even freak out after they done did it. They don't even, like, the normal reaction of a human's conscience is to sometimes reflect on what you just did or what just took place. And they have stone cold reactions, because that's what happens when you're trained to do something. You don't give off a reaction, not a fleshly reaction, not a sympathetic reaction. You don't give these things off because you're trained. You're like a machine. You're like a computer. A computer does not give a reaction when an error takes place. It just does it. That's what these officers are. They're trained. They're just trained terminators to terminate you Israelites, to terminate you Jakes out there. So I'm not going to read the article just for the interest of sake of time. I just want to basically give a report on it. So you can go to RT News and you can pull up. There's several different articles out there, but this is just reporting that this guy got found guilty on all accounts. Will he serve a moment in prison? That's yet to be proven, because I don't trust Esau, especially when this guy did exactly what they want him to do. So he just the face, of what they wanted to do, and now it's just they didn't want you Jakes out there to turn the city of Minneapolis upside down and burned the city down. So they gave a guilty verdict. But this is not a victory for you Israelites. Us Jakes that's in this that pay attention to this stuff. There's two types. There's a guy who pays attention to it, and it's like, oh, and they give a reaction to it. Then there's those of us that are Israelites that are in the faith and the truth that see this and see the underlining, beneath it, beneath the surface. We understand what's going on. And this is not a victory. This is not something to be celebrated. But you Jakes, they gave you this verdict on 420, so you can go out and get high as a kite. And you can think this is a victory and you celebrate it. But it's not. Let's get into the scriptures. This is Sirach 20, and I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, the gift of a fool shall do thee no good when thou has it, neither yet of the envious for his necessity. For he looketh to receive many things for one. So they didn't give you one verdict. So what are they going to want to receive from this one verdict? They're going to want more of you Jakes dead. They're going to want more of these cops to be killing you Israelites out there. And every time they kill many of you, they might give you one verdict, a guilty verdict, that you don't even know if punishment will be taking place, if you will serve a sentence. You just know that a guilty verdict. They might, this could be held up in court for many years if this guy appeals it. He's supposed to go to prison as he filed for an appeal, but hey, they gonna want more of you dead for every time they give you some. Esau gives you a little bit and he takes a lot. So look to them killing more of us out there, more of you Israelites, more of our people getting put to death by the hands of systematic racism and racial injustice, by the hands of peace officers that our tax dollars pay. Not only that, look to see more Edomites actually bringing type death to you Israelites out there. Verse 15, he giveth little and upbraideth much. He opens his mouth like a crier. Today he lendeth, and tomorrow he will ask it again. Such an one is to be hated of the Most High and man. Let me read that last part again. Such as one is to be hated of the Most High and man. So we're not supposed to look at this like we're supposed to hate this dude. We're supposed to continue to hate Esau. So he gave you one guilty verdict, and you're supposed to what? That's a victory? How many of our people have been put to death? How many did they kill and got off with the innocent plea and not a guilty plea? So once they give you one, now Jake want to celebrate. Jake all on their social media, making this go viral, which it was gonna go viral. It's viral already, but Jake out there showing out, all on their social media, smoking, talking about this one's for George Floyd, and pouring out drinks for George Floyd, and because they gave you one little guilty verdict. Like, we supposed to hate this man. The Most High hate this man. Like, we supposed to hate him. The scripture said gift destroyed the heart. And this was the gift that he gave you Israelites out there to shut up, to shut y'all up. Just put some pacifier in your mouth. What about all the other, Breonna Taylor, Samir Rice, Trayvon Martin? I could just go on and on about the many cases. It's been several, from this particular time frame this past year when they did this to George Floyd. How many people that they put to death by the hands of these police officers? We supposed to hate that. You ain't supposed to be satisfied with this type of verdict. I'm gonna get into the scriptures that's gonna satisfy us that's in the faith. This is Sirach 14:5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? So if this man convicts one of his own, Esau convicted another Edomite. If he did that to him, do you think he'll do good to you? He don't even give a damn about this dude Derek Chauvin or George Floyd, at that matter. And then you had Nancy Pelosi gets on and gives a speech, and she clearly comes out her mouth and says, "Thank you, George Floyd, for the sacrifice that you gave for racial and social injustice." Which just, when you understand how Esau operates, how the so-called white man Edom operates, that was planned. That means that they knew they were going to put this guy to death, and he was a blood sacrifice, or a sacrifice for a higher purpose or agenda of what they wanted to accomplish. And it makes perfect sense of why this was done and why she would say something like that. But that's going to go over a majority of the populated Earth's head. They're not going to understand what she was really talking. She was talking in code. But anyway, it says, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his good." Which he didn't take pleasure in giving this guilty verdict. And you're going to see the vengeance that hits the streets from this point on of how they operate regarding us Israelites out there, our people. Verse 6, "There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly." So you know that wasn't a willful guilty plea, because all you have to do is look at all the other cases that were given a innocent plea to these centurions, aka modern day police officers, when they were giving innocent pleas for doing the exact same thing that Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd, which was put him to death. The only difference is he didn't gun him down. He kneeled on his neck and killed him slowly. 8-minute death sentence. That's what he did. He put him to death by physical force, with pushing his knee on the back of his head. That's how he killed him. And that's how it's reportedly, because you never put nothing past Esau. I mean, there's been reports that George Floyd ain't even dead, and that he's somewhere else doing, that's what Esau does too. You can't put nothing past Esau, man, and how he operates. Like, you have the world thinking that George Floyd is dead. George Floyd in a whole nother country, his identity's changed, and he never died. But this was all a plot, so they can push this whole Black Lives Matter, so they can suffice and get Jake comfortable, or whatever agenda purposes of why they would do this. And there's many different purposes or reasons why they would carry something out like this. But let's just say he did really actually was put to death. The guilty plea does not match all the innocent pleas for the same results. Meaning, Israel or unarmed black man or black woman was murdered by the hands of police law enforcement's finest. So all them innocent pleas does not match this one guilty plea. So it says, "And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness." So you got to watch and pray, watch, pray, fast, and see what happens next. I'm talking about us out here that's in this faith. We pay attention. Well, what's going to happen next? He going to slow dance you and get you nice and tired and worn out, and then he moves on you. That's what he does. So in the next few months, pay attention to what this dude do. Talking about Esau. Verse 8. "The envious man had a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men." So we're going to watch and see what happens next. He gave you that guilty plea. And let's see what he do next. He did it unwillingly. He didn't want to do it, but that had to be done. So what? So you Jakes can lay down and relax and be asleep while he does other things. This is Lamentations 4:21. It says, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. though thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. This is what we're waiting for. See, you jakes out there that take part in 420 and get high, y'all of the spiritually sleep. Y'all in darkness. Those of us that are of the day, that are not drunken, but are sober, we looking for the full victory. We don't want a pacifier. We don't want the pacifier. We don't want the bottle. We want the whole victory. We want the whole meal. We want our rulership. We want these nations in subjection up under us in our kingdom. That's what we want. We don't want this guilty plea. We want the whole nation of Edom being held guilty. We want all you nations out there that are not of the nation of Israel held guilty and sentenced to 1,000-year slavery. That's what we looking for. Verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. This is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for our punishment, our sentence, our slavery time to end, and for these other nations, for it to begin for them. O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins. So we don't want Derek Chauvin. We don't want a guilty plea for him. We want the whole nation of Edom held guilty and actually judgment executed, starting with Yahweh Shem Yahushua and giving that task on over to the nation of Israel, because it tells you in Ezekiel that the Most High is going to lay his vengeance on Edom by the hands of his people Israel, and that's what we're looking for. This is Proverbs 11 and 21. It says, because you got a lot of Edomites, you got a lot of other nations that are celebrating this conviction, right? Or this, I'm gonna stop saying conviction. I'm gonna just stick to saying a guilty plead. That's what this is. The conviction comes later, even though the judge, I believe, waived his the ability for him to let me go back and see. Bear with me. It says, here it is. Chauvin's bail is revoked and he is taken in custody. Guilty on 3 counts. Court adjourned. So the judge revoked his ability to post bail. Which if you have a guilty plea, you don't get a right to post bail. So that right there is suspect. But the point is, you got a lot of people out here that, because when this whole Black Lives Matter thing just hit the whole earth all heavy and hard, it's been out there for years, but because of the George Floyd circumstances, it got pushed out there even heavier. And you had a lot of back when this was going on, you had a lot of protests hitting the streets, and majority of the people in the streets was Edomites. It was other nations. I'm riding through Compton off Greenleaf. Of Wilmington and Greenleaf Boulevard, there's old senior citizen Edomites out there with Black Lives Matter posters and signs and posters of justice for George Floyd. Like, what are you doing in Compton? I saw Arabs in Compton. I saw all these other nations in Compton lined up with their cars with signs taped to the sides of their windows with signs for Black Lives Matter and stop racial injustice and justice for George Floyd and all this stuff all up and down Wilmington Boulevard. From Wilmington and Greenleaf all the way to Wilmington and Alondra Boulevard. They were lined up. They were taking out a whole lane on that street. I was like, what the hell? They were out there protesting, they were out there protesting these other nations. But here's the thing: just because y'all out there protesting, y'all saying this is good and everything, y'all still gonna get punished. You other nations, starting with you Edomites and you other nations that are out there that are not Israelites, you got a punishment coming, and you can't escape that. This is Proverbs 11:21. Though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So you can cheer on this verdict. I'm talking about you Edomites out there. You could cheer on this verdict. You other nations could cheer on this verdict. 2/3 of the nation of Israel could cheer on this verdict. But the wicked shall not be unpunished. And that includes 2/3 of our people that are in there, that are following after, they father the devil, which is Esau, that are in line doing wicked things. When the 2/3 get punished, that we punish right along with the other nations in the nation of Edom. But the righteous shall be delivered. 1/3 of the elect of Israel will be delivered. This is the last scripture I want to get into, and I'm going to close it out. This is Jeremiah 30:16. Therefore, all they that devoured thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. This is the verdict we're looking for. We're not looking for one guilty verdict for one single man's actions. We want the whole nation to be held guilty for all their crimes against the nation of Israel. All the crimes that Edomites are doing right now. That's what we want. We want all of our adversaries, and this includes all the nations. You're our enemies. You're our adversaries. Every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I shall restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. Our wounds come at the hands of Esau and the other nations. They bruise us. They're the ones who supply wounds on the nation of Israel. So, like, if I misspoke, I meant to say all of our wounds come from the other nations. The healing is going to come from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. The scriptures say Yahushua is going to come with healing in his wings. And that's what we're looking for. It says, said the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Exactly. And that's actually what took place with George Floyd. When this dude had his neck, his knee on this guy, George Floyd's neck, nobody seeketh after to help this man. Nobody. All people did, the whole city, all the people that were there, is had their phones out and their mouths open, but their hands behind their back. And it was 3 officers that held a whole mob of people back, that they didn't take action to stop this guy from getting killed. Like, the funny thing is that if it's going to come a time where the Most High is going to put a spirit on you, Jakes, that you're not going to sit back and just watch, but you're going to partake in the social, racial injustice against our people. You're going to stand up and fight against that mess. And that day is surely and closely approaching those times. So with that, I just want to do a quick little report on this whole verdict and how Jake is out here acting a fool because of it. We're not looking for this. This is not no victory. This is not a win. This is actually just giving you false hope. We waiting for Yahushua to come. When Abinah Yahweh give our big brother Yahushua and his army, which is the holy angels, give them the green light, that's the victory we're looking for. Because that's a sure win. That's a blowout. When Yahushua and the angels come, there's no contest. Esau, are you that are in power on the earth, you will have no chance. You're going to get swept. You will not score. You will not touch one of the angels. You will not touch Yahushua. You will not touch none of the elect. That's what we're looking for. That's going to be a blowout victory for Yahushua, the holy angels, and the elect. With that, all praise, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and lead our nation, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.